Here's another comment. Again, all of this is to put it all of the discussion within the proper context. Okay. Let me get in here. The comment said she was a philosopher, referring to Ayn Rand, right? Therefore, she dealt with concepts. Okay. Yeah, philosophers deal with concepts. Is that an excuse? Her theory of concepts begins with perceptual level entities. Perceptual? In science, we don't perceive anything. We kill the observer. Science functions like a mafia. The first thing we do is we kill the witness. There are no witnesses, no observers in science. We have to run the we have to explain how Mother Nature runs the universe in the physics branch, right? And we have to look at it as a clockwork universe. We have to get rid of living entities. We have to get rid of us and all animals, anything, plants also. Get rid of anything that's alive. That way it doesn't distract you. We need to explain how the universe works without any living entity giving you its testimony. It's when we introduce perceptual that we get into trouble. See, touch, hear, taste, smell. Is that what makes the universe run? It's whatever I hear, it's whatever I see, whatever I can touch. Is that how the universe runs? Well, that is for you. How about for me? You touched God, I didn't. So you believe in God, I don't believe in God. And who's right now? So the problem is introducing an observer. We got to get rid of the observer. We got to know if God exists independent of the observer. If I need to believe in God for God to exist, then God's got a problem, because the day I die, God dies with me, right? I mean, he existed only because I believed in him. We have to know what exists independent of life, because it's the word life, the living entities that get in the way. We put the observer in there and say, well, what did you see? What did you think? Well, I don't know. I was on drugs that day. I had cocaine in my system. So I had all these dreams and I saw reality. No, you didn't. You had something in your brain. You got to look at it in that way. You got to remove the observer. Remove the observer. Whenever in doubt, remove the observer. What exists independent of the observer? That's what we're trying to figure out. We want to know how Mother Nature runs her shop. For that, we have to figure out those invisible entities that she uses to do gravity, light, magnetism, electricity, atomic behavior, and so on. Okay, you are a physicist, thus only concerned with concrete objects. Primarily, yeah, that's true. Physics is not philosophy. Yeah, that's true. But your approach to physics is highly philosophical. Again, we go back into philosophy. No, it's not. It's laying the foundations of physics. You are a physicist concerned with only concrete. She was a philosopher who grounded her ideas in concretes to go from what is to what ought to be. If you're going to talk about what is, what exists, we're not talking anymore about philosophy. Now we talk about physics. Anyone, any person using the word exist in any way, shape, or form has stepped the boundary over into physics. I don't care if you're the Pope. The Pope wants to talk to me about existence, right? He's crossed the line into physics. He wants to theorize about existence. He's no longer talking about religion. He can't say, well, I'm not a physicist. That's not a cop-out. That's not a way to excuse him. He comes in there, he tells me his theory, you say, well, but I'm not a physicist, so don't take my theory seriously. Is that what I'm supposed to think about that? I'm supposed to dismiss his theory because he's not a physicist? Is that the excuse? No, a person who uses the word exist in a scientific context, in a dissertation, when he's trying to theorize, he stepped the line over into physics. He's now in the realm of physics. Now we're going to treat him, with the rules of physics. And that is, we need to lay the foundations of physics and of rationality and so on and so forth. Okay? So yeah, it's no excuse. I put it in a different way, and I'll say it right now so that you know where I stand on this. Ayn Rand was a physicist. She was not a philosopher. She was a physicist because she was trying to lay the foundations of physics, and did a very, very lousy job in doing that because she never figured out what an object is to begin with. She never realized that you need an object to do physics to lay the foundations of what she was trying to do. She never was able to define the word exist because she didn't define the word object. And of course, once she had all this quicksand as the foundations, moving around, then she tried to build her philosophical and political and religious views on that quicksand. That's where the problem is. So we have to go not to her opinions about politics and economics and all this other stuff. That's, for me at least, it's irrelevant. The point here is she never laid the foundations of physics, even though she insinuated that she knew what an object is and what she called it an entity and what existence is or means, and she didn't. We're going to go over that.